Hey, this is Ryan from Muscle Without Meltdown. I want to talk to you guys about caffeine today and whether or not you should incorporate that into your routine as a neurodivergent lifter. Now, I'm going to assume we're all familiar with caffeine, but just real quick, most people, the subjective effect of caffeine is going to be that energized feeling where you can just go and focus on a task and uh, quite a fair bit of time, you'll get a mood boost or even some euphoria from it. And in regards to exercise, it allows people to push themselves harder typically, whether that's pushing past their kind of pain threshold or their effort threshold. It just allows them to work a little bit harder and ultimately achieve a little bit better result, right? Now, what I've noticed being neurodivergent, in particular, having gone through really extreme sensory burnout, is that caffeine is now like this whole other animal to me. And it's something that I have to be really, really careful with. And essentially now, if I take caffeine beyond like a certain threshold, let's say more than, I don't know, 100 milligrams, there's a chance that I'm going to get more of just anxiety and agitation from it and get really, kind of fidgety, um, scattered mentally. And the real problem is that any kind of sensory experience that would maybe be unpleasant for me and might kind of like grate on me, it just instantly sets me off when I'm like scattered on caffeine. And that's a sign that I've taken too much. But just figure back before I went through this burnout, I could kind of take a standard dose of caffeine, 200, 300 milligrams. But now that would be like a death sentence for me, not in the sense I'm going to have a heart attack, but I'm going to be guaranteed to have a meltdown and it's going to be really unpleasant. Um, so, for that reason, I would recommend to you guys you don't necessarily have to avoid caffeine, but definitely be self-aware and do like an honest inventory with yourself of what effects you are getting from it. Because I do think caffeine is habit forming to where you want it even if you know it's not doing you any favors. And even when it has all those negative effects, you're still kind of hooked on it a little bit. And people go through withdrawals if they quit caffeine or do it cold turkey anyway. So um, there's definitely that component to it of a habit. And for a neurodivergent person who's already like really deep into routine, that can be there too. So first, yeah, take a self inventory, notice how it affects you. And if you're having some of those experiences that I'm having, start pulling it back. I wouldn't say cut it out all at once unless you are just a real tough son of a bitch. Um, but like if you're taking 300 milligrams a day, pull it back to 200, then 100, and see how you feel. Um, I find that 80 milligrams to 100 milligrams is kind of a sweet spot for me. Sometimes even as low as 60 once I kind of reset my tolerance. But going up into those higher doses, man, I am really asking for trouble. So, yeah, that'd be my advice to you guys. Notice how it affects you, and then behave accordingly. And if you're looking for alternatives to caffeine, I'm going to be honest with you, they're not a whole lot. Um, I had some success with Dynamine. I've been having trouble getting it lately, and also it's not that noticeable. It's definitely something once you have like weaned yourself off caffeine. But if you're trying, you do Dynamine when you're used to, how caffeine makes you feel, you might not notice it. Um, so honestly, it'd really just be best to get used to training without stimulants. And the other reason being is that we already have this issue with being more prone to fight or flight. And if you're stuck in burnout, then you're also kind of stuck in fight or flight to a large degree. And all the caffeine does is just kind of heighten that and maybe mimic the fight or flight. But I think it mimics probably not the right word. It probably really just does feed it, because it is making you more sensory sensitive and shortening your fuse, so to speak. So yeah, think about avoiding caffeine or really cutting it back. If it's something you want to keep in your routine, you could look into taking L-theanine with it, which I notice if you take 100 milligrams, 200 milligrams with your caffeine, it does, smooth out the experience a good bit. Another option could be CBD, but at the end of the day, really, if you've taken too much caffeine, you're kind of screwed until it's out of your system, in my experience. So be cautious. And that's my advice for you guys today. I will see you tomorrow.